Hello and welcome to The Night Feed. I'm your host, Charlotte, here to bring you some comfort, camaraderie and conversation to keep you company during, let's face it, one of the toughest parts of being a new parent, The Night Feed. Tonight's unpaid sponsor is Feeding Like a Cooked Shrimp. As I record this right now, I realise I am sat like a cooked shrimp because it's how I feed. And if you don't know what I mean completely and utterly bent over. I should know this by now. Third baby, always get out the nursing pillow. But I just never seem to have it with me. And if you're anything like me, when the baby's hungry, my first concern is just putting the baby on the boob. I'm never get in a position, I remember a health visitor coming once and saying, always make sure you've got your cup of tea ready and you've got your pillow underneath you and that you're comfortable first and then put the baby on. Never do I heed this advice. My mum said it, Jason says it, you get comfy and then put the baby on. And I think because I'm so on the go when I'm feeding in the day, I'm with the girls, I'm here, there and everywhere. He has one boob and then I'll go and do something and then have the other. It's very much like I'm never in a settled position very often. And I've realised today my posture is not good. Unless I'm consciously thinking about it, it's not good and I need to stop that. So this is my public service announcement to you as well. If you're breastfeeding and you're not looking after your back, start doing it now because you'll regret it otherwise. It was our first day of school and nursery today for my eldest and my middle child, and it just felt like we were all ready for it. It's a big day, isn't it? And you think, how are you going to feel? Are you going to be emotional? Are you going to cry? But they were so excited, and it's been a busy old summer with having the baby as well. And I think everyone in the house was ready for this. Our middle little girl, who's 3, only just turned 3 really, so she's quite young in her preschool year. She goes for half a day in the morning and she just walks straight in. She walks straight in because she'd seen her sister go there every day for the past year. And we were kind of hovering at the window to wave, and she didn't turn around. She was in, she was playing with the toys, she was having a lovely little time. So that was great. And then we went to take our eldest to reception, which is first grade for our American friends. And she walked straight in as well. And it was great. No tears from me or from them or from Jason. Everybody was fine. And it was really nice. We got back home and we just sat in silence because, like I said, it's been so busy this summer with the new baby, with the girls. It's been go, go, go from the minute you wake up. It's what we do and where we're going, what we're eating. We literally just sat in silence with the baby after 9 and had a brew. And it was lovely. It was like this moment of peace where I could breastfeed comfortably with a pillow underneath. There's no excuse for that. But anyway, I took my time feeding. I had a coffee. Jason, we just chatted, and it makes you appreciate that. I think when you're in the thick of those very, very early days, you think, oh my gosh, this is so hard at times. You have moments like we did today where you realise they grow so fast. It seems like minutes ago we had our first, and that's almost 5 years now. So if you are in those early weeks, in those early months, and you're finding it tough, just know it's just a season and it will pass. And before you know it, you'll be sat having a cup of tea in a quiet house because they're in school. And the chaos is a little less chaotic and you're able to have a little clean up and no one's following you like a little whirlwind. So yeah, it feels surreal, but it also feels like the time is right, and I'm just glad everyone's happy about it. So if you're going through that at the moment, maybe you've got an eldest starting at school or nursery, good luck. I hope it all goes well for you, and I hope you can also just make the most of the stiller time with your baby. But yeah, tonight I thought, instead of emails, I've gone on a forum on Reddit and I found 2 quite interesting posts And I thought I'd share them with you because it really hit me, one of them. Both of them did, really, with some of the responses. And I think if I find them useful and interesting, then you probably will too. So let's start with this one. It says, parents of teenagers and adult kids, what are your biggest regrets? My kids are still very young, 2 and 4. I'd love to hear from parents who already have teens or grown-up children. Looking back, what are the biggest regrets? Also, what do you wish you had influenced your kids to do more of while they were growing up? Things like pursuing certain hobbies, sports, learning practical skills, or anything else you feel really matters later in life. So the first comment says, I regret letting them have unlimited device access too early. If you can, delay their own phones until 6th grade. Delay smartphones until high school. Delay social media until 16. Allow them to be bored. It's healthy. And long-time listeners to the podcast will know that I love that. I think delaying social media especially is critical. And the phones as well. I got speaking to a dad the other day who said, he had a 9 and a 10-year-old, I think. I don't know if I mentioned this last week on the podcast, but I said, oh, does it get easier as they get older? And he says, in a lot of ways, it gets harder because you're battling with phones. And I think for our generation, the phones is going to be the biggest thing, the biggest battle in a way. And it's how we navigate it. Because I feel like before I became a parent, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to have screens. But realistically, we have screens. We all know that unless you are seriously strict about that and you don't want it at all, there's going to be screens. I try and limit it to TV, but phones do come out now and then. And I think it's part of modern day, isn't it? And it's just how we, limit access to that when they're on their own with them. Because mine currently are too young to sit on their own, really, with the devices, hence why I prefer the telly. But yeah, that is a tough battle. Next one is, I think it is necessary to spend more time exercising with children, which is not only good for the body, but can also enhance the relationship of parents and children. And this is also a great one because, like my nan said the other day, you don't see kids outside anymore. And I used to love playing out. We used to play manhunt, we used to play football, we used to just be outside. I remember some holidays, knocking for my friends was like a highlight. It was like, gosh, get to go out and be out all day and enjoy it. And you don't see that now with devices. And also, we are potentially more protective because we know of more dangers. And we are fed more dangers because of social media. And I think maybe are we more anxious, and therefore we prefer our kids to be in with us where we can see them. But exercising is a great way around that, going to the park, running around, even working the legs. I know my girls just love being free on a field. So yeah, I'm definitely going to take note of that one as well. Somebody else says, one regret I already have with my first grader is not starting small responsibilities sooner. I used to do everything for her just to save time, and now I realise she's capable of more. I wish I'd encouraged her to help with little chores or stick with a hobby. We're slowly working on it now, and she can feel proud doing these things on her own. Again, a really important one. I've realised that things just take longer, and it's been okay with that, because I also think we do need to teach them responsibilities. It is so easy to do everything for your kids because it saves time. I'll make the tea, I'll clean up, I'll make your bed, I'll hoover up. Obviously, when you've got toddlers and babies, there's limits to what they can do. But my girls now, they love hanging their little clothes up. They'll happily make the bed if I ask them. It's just remembering to, and not being in such a dash all the time that I just end up doing it all anyway. And I'm really going to heed that one as well, because I think teaching them from an early age responsibility is absolutely crucial for later life. So another one that I'll be heeding, and just enjoying the slower pace, I suppose. And someone put this is the Montessori way, teaching kids to do stuff themselves. You'll be amazed at what they can do. like cleaning up, putting their jacket and shoes on and doing small chores. So it's not that difficult. It's just learning to slow down. And then another regret, which is an important one, I think, and one that we as mums probably don't think of as a regret necessarily, is this person's put, I regret not taking care of myself. I had a very hard time with my mental health and couldn't figure out a way to take care of myself. I needed to get a babysitter and get therapy. I needed to get meds that helped me. It all seemed too daunting whilst mostly solo parenting a young child and working full time. I don't remember most of this little kid's years because I was in such a fog of depression and anxiety. Taking care of me would have made a better mum. And how important that comment is if you are someone struggling with depression or anxiety and you are just battling through for your kids, sometimes means that you are not, I suppose, neglecting yourself. And neglecting yourself is in turn neglecting the kids away, because if you're a mum that is really, really struggling in daily life, how can you be fully there for the kids? And I suppose it's taking that step back and really thinking about you and thinking about, maybe how can I get a little extra help? Maybe a babysitter, like this person said, maybe see a therapist. I am not educated in this, so this is just my advice as a mum. I've also not been through depression, touch wood, so it's hard for me to advise, but I can imagine how difficult that must be. I can imagine how difficult it must be being in a low mindset and struggling day to day and parenting. Because parenting can be hard enough when you're feeling great and you're happy and everything's chill and everything's good, It's so crucial to look after yourself. And it's such a cliche thing. You can't give from an empty cup. Fill your cup. I know that people say that and people just roll their eyes a bit like, of course we have to fill our cup, but when do we do that? It's about really carving time out and being like, no, I am doing this now. And another thing is, I don't think us mums are very good at being, it's not even selfish, about saying, this is my hour now. Like Jason's downstairs with the baby and our youngest, and I can hear like them playing. I can hear potentially her shouting up to me then. And I think, no, you're fine with your dad. You're fine with your dad. The baby's been fed. This is my time. And I personally need to get better at saying like, no, this is my time. Because Jason, he's great. He will happily let me go off. He's never said, oh no, you need to be here. You need to be, and I get ate up when I don't ask for that time, but all I have to do is ask for it. All I have to say is, right, I'm going off for an hour now. Fine. But because I think mums can have that, oh, I need to be there to do that, and what if he needs is this and what, and I think it's just getting that ability to not have to micromanage and just be like, step away, they're fine. As long as you've got someone you trust looking after them, they're fine. It's time for you to have that bath, to go for that walk, to see a therapist if that's what you need to do, to fill your cup. And I think that's such an important comment. And I think that's, really, really important. And I'm going to finish this post on a lighter one, which says 14, 12 and 8-year-olds currently. I'll tell you things I haven't regretted and you can go from there. I haven't regretted spending money on a trip. I haven't regretted stopping what I'm doing to play a game, or going to one of their events, going home instead of working late, and putting my phone down to listen to them. So there you go. That is things that parents of older children have regretted or not regretted. And I hope that gives you a little bit of perspective and helps you and makes you think about things. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. So on to the next post I found, and I came across this in a forum, and it was just one of those things that you read and it really takes you aback and it kind of takes your breath away a little bit. Well, it did for me. So it says, I have adult children and this is what I learned. So it's similar to that last post. This is someone speaking from experience with adult children. I have 3 adult children in their 20s. I raised them on my own, with the youngest being 3 and the oldest 7. When they saw their dad for the last time, they were 3 and 7. Their dad was a coke and heroin addict, and it took me a few years to leave everything. You can imagine what came from it. From financial ruin to domestic violence, the moment my ex turned on his children, I left. I'm sorry, I should have said trigger warning before I went into this. So it's not the nicest to begin with, this story. So if any of these themes affect you, then skip a few minutes ahead. Next bit says, I had no family to turn to, nothing. We were homeless at times. We moved a lot, even countries. And I even stayed on trails in tents trying to hide because my ex was trying to find and hurt us. But over time, we started healing. I went to therapy, focused on raising the kids, trying to make a living and keeping us at least somewhat afloat. We worked hard. My kids worked for a few dollars anywhere they could so we could buy food or pay the electricity bill. Meanwhile, they went to school and I studied. I went to every school event I possibly could, cheered them on in a way I could, and tried to find solutions for anything they wanted to do that we couldn't afford or didn't have the means for. Above all, my routine with them stayed consistent. For example, every evening after homework we ate dinner together, and I read them a bedtime story when they were little, or we went to the local libraries every Saturday, stuff like that, no matter where we were and how bad it was. Fast forward to today, I just hung up the phone with my oldest. He works in this is like making me tear up. He works in a job and he loves and moved in with a sweet girlfriend who cooks for him daily. His biggest worry right now is the resulting weight gain. My other son just finished his master's and is job hunting in a new city with his girlfriend, calling me for advice on job interviews and fashion choices. And my daughter, she's finishing her doctorate, takes care of 4 pets, visits me daily because she lives close by and is basically like my best friend. Oh my gosh, I'm so emotional. Oh, the reason I'm writing this is not just because I'm obviously immensely proud. No, it's because I realise that all my children are kind, caring, educated, hard-working adults. I was so scared when they were growing up because I had nothing. At times, not even running water or a roof over our heads. But I marched on. I made sure they knew how to be consistent, ambitious, and hardworking. It wasn't that I sent them to special schools or that they had some incredible coach or life-changing experience. No, they were just kids who knew what my expectations were. And they knew I was so proud of them. I supported them and I would go through fire for them if I needed. Somehow, that seemed to be the most important thing. I'm not saying that providing all the other things that parents, myself included, worry about aren't important. But I want every worried parent out there to know you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be there. At times, all I had to give was simply being there. But that seems to have been enough to raise adults. God, I'm so emotional. With both drive and empathy. You're all doing great. Oh my God. Sorry. I'm such an emotional wreck at times. I saw that post the other day and it really, really hit me hard that as parents, we just want to give them like the world and you want to like go above and beyond for your children all the time. And you think getting them things is great and you think then, toys and presents, and actually all they want in the whole world is you and being with them, doing that puzzle, being there at school, cheering them on, talking to them, reading that bedtime story. And it's not material things in life. And again, it's another cliche, like you don't need money, you just need love and health. And in a lot of ways, it's true. Like, yes, money makes things a lot easier. And I'm sure this mum who wrote this post back in the day, if she had a bit more money, things would have been easier. She wouldn't have had to sleep in tents with her kids. Money does make things easier. There's no denying that. But all these material things that kids can get now, toys are so cheap. You can go into a thrift shop or a cheap pound shop and come out armed with a haul for less than a £5. And is that good? is that teaching them that actually life isn't all sunshine and roses? It's hard out there. It is hard on those streets to make a living, to be in the real world. And it makes me think the experience this poster, this lady's children had growing up with nothing or not very much, has made them into such, great adults. If you think about it, they seem to be doing great. And I'm not saying that if they'd have had lots of things, they wouldn't have been doing so great. It just really grounded me and made me think what our kids want most from us is our time. And when you strip it all back, that's everything, isn't it? Time. That's what we all want more of, really. And yeah, I just look around and I see their things and possessions, and I see things that they play with for a week. And you think, gosh, they're not ungrateful. They're very grateful, and I've brought them up to be very grateful for what they receive and what they get given. And a famous quote from my eldest, when we put all our presents on the table for I think it was her 4th birthday, she walked into the room and she was like, "You've done all this for me." And I remember that, and I thought, keep her grounded like that. I don't want them ever being expectant of lots of presents and lots of toys. And like this mother, she had nothing, and her kids have turned out great. So it's just that reminder that we think we're doing great by giving them the world and giving them everything, but it's not always the case. So don't beat yourself up if you can't give your kids everything you want to give them. Just think, all I have to do is put my phone down and sit and do that puzzle. Or when we're watching a film, don't be on my phone. Sit and watch the film and talk about it as you're watching it with them. Because I can sense when I'm watching something with Jason and he's on his phone, and you're like, and he can vice versa. If he's put something on, a film, and I'm not that into it, and I'm on my phone, it's you're not both engaged, are you? And we're all guilty of it. But yeah, I just thought when it all boils down to it, it is time that is your greatest gift as a parent. Okay, next tonight is what's trending. And I came across this article and it said, "I felt doomed. Social media guessed I was pregnant and my feed soon grew horrifying." It said, "The algorithm knew I was expecting before I had a chance to tell my family, friends or GP. At first, I was served up joyful videos, then the tone became much darker." And it's basically an article about a lady who got pregnant, and only she knew she was pregnant at this point. So she started liking and saving and sharing, well, not sharing actually, just liking and saving videos about pregnancy and about babies. And then the TikTok content machine and the Instagram content machine started feeding her lots and lots of videos about pregnancy and new babies. And it was all lovely to begin with. And then it took a darker turn. So then it started, again, trigger warning here, sharing videos about miscarriage, stillbirth, child illness. And later on in the article, it talks about distressing content not being a glitch. It's engagement, and engagement is revenue. And it says that fear-based content keeps people hooked because it creates a sense of urgency. People feel they need to keep watching, even when it's upsetting. The platform then benefits financially, even as the psychological toll grows. So it's saying that the more distressing, the more money they earn. And I know that is terrible, but I read this article and I was like, that is exactly what happened to me. Now, I actively search content to do with pregnancy and new babies because I am a mum, but also because of this podcast. So my algorithm is completely geared up to this arena, if you like. I remember when I got pregnant with my third, going through this, because the algorithms are so advanced now. Even when you search off the platform or talk about being pregnant with your partner, it hears and it feeds you the content it wants to feed you. And I went through the same thing. It started out all sunshine and roses. And it made me think, I can't wait to be pregnant again. I can't wait to feel the baby kick. I can't wait to meet the baby. And you think about all these positive, wonderful things, and you start liking and commenting and sharing and saving these videos. Then all of a sudden the TikTok goes, how about we now show them this? And it does show you the darker, sadder stories that people share. And I don't have anything against the people sharing those stories, because people take to those platforms to do that and raise awareness about certain things. And I know some people find it cathartic talking about it. And I think it is good, on one hand, to raise awareness about this, that other people go through this. And I know people can get a lot of, comfort in going through something and seeing someone else has gone through it. So I know there is a need for that in a way. But I also know, as a pregnant mother, how daunting and distressing it can be reading things like that. And I just wonder if that happened to you. I wonder if, when you're on social media, you get served a mixture of happy and distressing, or mainly distressing content. I know when I've gone on TikTok for a quick minute, I've come off nearly crying recently a few times. And TikTok knows that's going to get you hooked, because you want to go to the end of the video to see what happened. And it's just, again, another warning from me to you. Long-time listeners will know, I think social media is very destructive. It has its benefits. Don't get me wrong, my whole business prior to having children was geared around social media marketing. It gave me a job, essentially. So it definitely has its benefits. But when you're protecting your mental health as a pregnant mother, or a new mother, or even somebody who's trying to conceive, it is very damaging. And you just need to be careful, because this article made me realise it's very strategic now, what we're being served as new and expecting mums. So please drop me an email with regards to that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Are you finding this? Are you seeing content that you don't necessarily want to see? Are you finding your algorithms got smarter over the years? Do you think it's damaging to new mums, or do you think it's helpful to new mums? Have you got positive stories of how social media's helped you? I'd love to hear from you. thenightfeedpodcast at gmail.com. My self-care suggestion tonight is to start a pocket journal. And I personally don't have a pocket journal, and I don't have a journal. It's not something I've done. It's not something I've researched much, but I know it's meant to be really good for you. And the idea of a pocket journal is, instead of buying a book, sitting down for half an hour of a night, writing down how you feel, this is literally just a note on your phone, in your notes app, and just write down one word when you remember. Sad, great, grateful, happy. And this, then, if you do it once a day or once every other day, you can track emotionally how you have felt through the month. And I actually wanted to tie this in with friends of the podcast, Femometer. I think I mentioned a couple of weeks back, I've been gifted a Femometer Ring from the company Femometer. And I was looking into these smart rings for months, thinking about investing in one. And I very happily got approached by this company. And it's a smart ring with an app. And it's so insightful. And something I've been looking at lately is how it can read your mood. Because I think as a new mum, we go through a whirlwind of emotions: happy, sad, angry, rage even at times. And it's amazing how it tracks your stress level. Sometimes it's in the red, sometimes it's in the green. And a lot of the time lately, for me, it's been in the green, which I've been really loving seeing. There's a few things I've been doing to help with that. One of them being getting to bed earlier. And I know nights are almost non-existent as a new mum. You're up, you're feeding, but getting to bed earlier has really helped with my mood. So 9, 10 o'clock, making sure I'm in bed, not just saying, oh, I'll get to bed at 10 and then it being 11, 12. Getting to bed earlier, I have noticed on the app for the ring, my mood has gone to the green. And I'm going to start journaling it. I'm going to start writing it down as well so I can have the evidence. So if you want to look into the ring, it's called Femometer. There is a link in the description of this podcast which will take you to Amazon. And my code, thenightfeed, will get you 20% off. So I'll put all the details at the bottom. I've loved the ring so far. I've had it for a few months now. It tracks your sleep, tracks your steps, tracks your mood. It tracks your ovulation window. So if you're trying to conceive or trying not to conceive, it's really great for that. I find it brilliant. I find it really, really good, and I highly recommend it. So I'll leave the details in the description. Thank you for listening tonight. Thank you for being here, as always. I have had a few emails this week that I haven't read out because I did them forum posts. So if you have any more emails, please send them in, thenightfeedpodcast@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to read them out. I always respond to anyone who writes in. I always send an email back, even if I don't read it out. So keep them coming in. I love hearing from you, and I wish you all a restful, peaceful night ahead. Good night.